Hello dear friends, welcome back again to another video from my YouTube channel. In our previous video, we talked about the gynoecium, female reproductive part of the flower. In this video, we are going to understand the structure of Megasporangium, or it is simply called as ovule, and anatropous ovule is given for second year PUC syllabus. Now, what is this anatropous ovule? Anatropous means inverted, upside down, inverted ovule. This question is very important for secondary PUC board examination. The diagram is very important. Before we go in depth of this concept, let us understand some basic things that we have studied in the previous video. Let us recall the things that we have studied in the last video. This is the entire gynoecium, and this is a free unit of the gynoecium. That is why it is called as the pistil or carpel. Now in this pistil, there are three very important parts that we have labeled. This part, it is called as a stigma. This is a stigma. Whereas this long cylindrical tube-like structure, this is called as style. Whereas the basal portion, it is called as, this much portion, it is called as ovary, and all this stigma, style, ovary, three parts, they are located on a platform kind of thing. That platform, it is called as receptacle. And this is a stalk of the flower. As I told in my previous video, out of all the three parts of the gynoecium, this ovary is the most important part. Why? Because inside the ovary, here we have the female gametophyte located, my dear friends. That female gametophyte, it is nothing but the ovules. That means ovules are located inside the ovary. These ovules, they are also called as Megasporangium. In this particular video, we are going to understand the detailed structure of this Megasporangium. This ovule we are going to study in detail. If I draw the anatropous ovule, this anatropous ovule, the central part of the anatropous ovule, it consists of the embryo sac. This portion, it is consisting of embryo sac. This embryo sac, it is surrounded by a group of parenchymatous tissue. In which abundant amount of food is reserved. Rich amount of nutritive material reserved. This abundant nutritive tissue, it is called as nucellus. It is the nucellus. Central part of the anatropous ovule, it is embryo sac. Embryo sac is surrounded by a group of parenchymatous tissue with a rich source of food material, that is called as nucellus. And this nucellus main job is, its main function is to nourish the embryo sac. Nucellus is consisting of food in it, and that food is helpful for the nourishment of the embryo sac, my dear friends. Now, this nucellus and embryo sac, they are surrounded by another group of layers. This layer, it is called as inner integument. It is the inner integument. Inner integument, is surrounded by one more layer. This layer, it is called the outer integument. Outer integument. This is inner integument and this is outer integument. Inner integument and the outer integument. This entire ovule is attached to the ovarian cavity by a placenta. And that placenta, it consists of a stalk-like structure. This stalk-like structure, it is called as funicle. It is called as funicle. This funicle, it attaches to the integument. That means the junction between funicle or a stalk-like structure. Funicle is nothing but a stalk-like structure through which this entire structure get attached to the ovary. Now funicle attaches to the outer integument. That junction, this junction, it is called as, let us erase this. This junction, it is called as hilum. It is called as hilum. Now, the entire ovule, which is inverted ovule, anatropous ovule, it forms a mouth kind of thing. It forms an opening here. This opening I'm talking about. This opening, it is called as micropylar end. Micropylar end. And opposite to the micropylar end, here we have chalazal end. Chalazal end. This is the detailed structure of anatropous ovule in the angiospermic plants. Angiospermic plants, they have got ovules located inside the ovary. Ovaries, they consist of a central portion. This central portion is nothing but the embryo sac, in which we have the actual female gamete located, that we are going to discuss in our future classes. And this embryo sac is surrounded by a nucellus. Nucellus' main function is to nourish the embryo sac. To nourish the embryo sac. To cover the embryo sac as well as the nucellus, we have two covering layers. We have two protective layers. These two protective layers are called as outer integument and inner integument. Remember, my dear friends, if any ovule is surrounded by two integuments, such ovule is called as bitegmic ovule. Bitegmic ovule. Bi means two. Tegma means covering layer. Tegma means protective layer. If any ovule is covered with the two protective layers, namely outer integument and inner integument, such ovule is called as bitegmic ovule. Bitegmic ovule is very common in most of the angiospermic plant, whereas monotegmic ovule is found only in gymnosperms. And the main function of these integuments, both outer as well as inner integuments, main job is to help in the protection. To help in the protection. Embryo sac's main job is to help in the development of a female gamete, whereas nucellus' main job is to nourish the developing embryo sac, and this embryo sac as well as nucellus, they are covered with outer and inner integument. Their main function is to provide the protection, and this entire structure forms a mouth kind of thing, an opening. That opening is called as micropylar end, and opposite to that opening, this end of the ovule, it is called as the chalazal end, and the entire ovule, it is held with a stalk kind of thing, with a holding kind of thing. That holding is called as funicle. Funicle attaches to the outer integument. That junction, it is called as hilum. In some of the anatropous ovule, this funicle layer, it overlaps the ovule. That overlapping, it is called as raphe. Raph's main job is to provide a mechanical support to the ovule. Ovule is a very delicate part of the flower. That is why it needs to be protected. Hence, the additional protection is given by this raphe. It is nothing but the extension of funicle. Funicle is the holding. Hilum is the junction where the funicle get attached to the outer integument. This is the detailed structure of anatropous ovule, which is very, very, very important for both board as well as for competitive exams. This is the structure of anatropous ovule. In our next video, we are going to understand how the female gamete is getting developed inside the embryo sac. Till then, stay home, stay safe. Thank you so much.